There's still this rumor that you support the junta when visiting Myanmar, and in a way it's also true. The government is basically selling electricity to neighboring countries because they get a higher rate for this. For now, I think you should think twice before you enter the country. Traveling to Myanmar in 2024, I make this video because there's a lot of confusion. Is it safe to travel to Myanmar at the moment? We're going to discuss a few things here. I'm going to share my experience. I just came back from an unforgettable journey, and yeah, I think I can say overall it is safe to travel as a foreign tourist in Myanmar at the moment, but there are definitely a few buts. I've left Myanmar already. I reunited with Nuna, so I'm safely back in Thailand. I'm actually on my way to Malaysia now. I just want to shine a light on Myanmar once more before we crack on this journey. I tell you what it is like to arrive in Myanmar at the moment. I will share my experience traveling by road, because you hear quite a few mixed stories about is it safe or not traveling by road. The state of Myanmar, the current situation. There is a bit of confusion here. People have been telling me like, Chai, if you're going to Myanmar at this moment, you are supporting the junta. I've got a few things to say about this, and we're going to discuss the freedom of media in Myanmar. Arriving in Yangon at the airport is a quite smooth transition. It's a quiet airport, not a lot of flights going in and out. So yeah, there are not a lot of people, there's not a lot of chaos. Now there will be people approaching you. This was also the case for me when I arrived. There was a guy working on the airport, and yeah, you could exchange money with him, you could buy a SIM card of him. It's highly recommended to bring US dollars to Myanmar. With these US dollars, you're gonna have to exchange your money, and you will get a exchange rate, a ridiculously high exchange rate, because there's a lot of inflation at the moment. When I arrived, it was about 3,900. Anyway, you will get a better rate if you exchange your money outside of the airport. My opinion, let the guys that are working at the airport earn a little bit of money there. Bring a $50 note and exchange $50 so you have local currency in your wallet. You're supporting the guys straight away when you arrive in Myanmar. There will be police and army at the airports, more so police, and they're actually really helpful and friendly, especially towards the tourists. It's a little bit of a sensitive topic, but not everyone that is working for army and the police are horrible people. I think after being here for several weeks, being in Myanmar, I found out that a lot of people that have been working for police and army already for many years don't actually want to work there anymore. There's no need for you to be afraid arriving in Myanmar at the moment, especially not at the airport. This is also coming with a small side note I will tell you later this episode. Then again, I don't want to give the wrong picture here. It is not fully safe to be in Myanmar for anyone at the moment. Still, there are a few people they're thinking that there's actually nothing going on, and it's actually very safe to travel in Myanmar, and this is not my message at all. You can buy a SIM card at the airport. Someone will approach you and they try to hustle you. It's not a lot of money we're talking about. We're talking about less than $10, and you got a SIM card with some internet. This internet can be helpful. You can order a Grab from the airport. You'll save a bit of money there as well. Instead of going with an airport taxi, get into a Grab. A Grab is fully functioning in Yangon only till a certain time of the day. This is all to do with the curfew at the moment. There's still a curfew from 12 to 4, and it's not really recommended to go outside after 10, 11 o'clock at night. Booking.com and Agoda are quite handy to use inside of Myanmar. There is not a lot of choice at the moment. A lot of hotels took their accommodation offline, but especially in Yangon, in the city, there's quite a few choices. The major hotels, they're not operating at the moment, so you're probably looking at some smaller hotels. Whatever is available on Agoda, I think, is quite okay to stay in. Yangon is a beautiful city with a beautiful architecture, is well taken care of as well. They keep the streets quite clean. There are quite a few homeless people, and I'm sure there are more and more coming to the city as the countryside is getting poorer and poorer. Everyone is very lovely, and also even the homeless people have been super friendly and smiling to me and wanted to chat if they were able to talk English to me. I couldn't speak the local language, so I had to communicate everything in English. I felt really safe inside of Yangon. Inside of the city there will be a lot of currency exchange places, and I expected that the rates were like government rates, and there's a black market here as well, and that's kind of the real rates. They're going up to like 4 or 5 at the moment. Anything that is more than 4,000, I would say, is a good rate. People argue this. People say like, oh, you should get 5,000 for $1. I'm not too sure about this. There is a lot of speculation, but I could not get anything more than 3,950 when I was there. But the inflation is still going up. I don't know exactly where it is right now, but I estimate around 4 or 5. Don't be tempted with very good rates by a guy that walks by and say like, hey, you want to exchange money? I've done it before myself. I talked to a few people that have done this as well and nothing happened. But you also hear stories that there are some gangs around which are giving these services. They're like black market. This could be a little bit dangerous, so I don't recommend going on the streets and check out the black market. There are also actually shops, proper shops, where you can get really good rates, like plus 4,000 for $1. Yangon during the day is very safe, especially for foreign tourists. I don't think there are any issues unless you are filming, let's say, government buildings, police, army. These things you should not, don't even take your phone out if you're seeing police or whatever. If you don't write anything bad about the government, or if you don't take any pictures or videos of any government buildings, it's very safe to be in Yangon. And this also has a side note. I'm saying very safe. Nothing is completely safe in Myanmar at the moment. I can go a little bit more in detail later this episode. Safety during the night. I've been out at nighttime as late as 9 o'clock. People recommend me going inside before 10 o'clock. I've heard a lot of people going out after 10, between 10 and 12, no problem. But yeah, the locals, like everyone saying it from the hotels, from the people I talk to on the streets, don't go out after 10 o'clock. So I just stick with this. The curfew is from 12 to 4 a.m. So yeah, you can stay out until 12 o'clock without any problem. And I would recommend stick with what the locals are saying, listen and look around you, see how other people behave around you. Scams, obviously there are scams like everywhere in the world. Any tourist destination, any tourist is a target. Yangon is not an exception of this. It does not really happen at the moment. A lot of, like the scamming tourist business, let's say, is almost non-existing because there are no tourists at the moment. So yeah, if you get scammed, then this guy is probably, making only a few dollars of you. So I just recommend don't bargain with the people. The people are struggling financially and the dollar is very strong at the moment. So I'll just give, this is just my personal opinion, I'll just give what the people ask. Because yeah, you're supporting the locals right now. There's still this rumor that you support the junta when visiting Myanmar, and in a way it's also true. We get to this at the end of this episode. Power cuts. Yes, there will be power cuts throughout the day. On average, it's like 6 hours of electricity in Yangon, which is not a lot. The government is basically selling electricity to neighboring countries because they get a higher rate for this. So the locals don't have enough electricity because of this. This is one reason. There are a few reasons. With this being said, Yangon has many hotels with generators. Sightseeing in Myanmar at the moment, sightseeing is still possible, although it's very limited. Internet was actually quite stable in my hotel. I'm not too sure if this is the case in every hotel, but you can expect quite fast internet inside of the city 24/7. Traveling by air. Now, Myanmar has its national airlines, and yes, you would support the army right away if you are paying to this airline. I don't recommend to book your flights with a national airline. I'm not too sure if there are any other flights or any other options, but if that is the case and if you are considering flying, I would definitely research this. It does save you a bit of time and you can avoid the roads. Now, I've been traveling by bus all the time. People did not recommend me doing this. You have roadblocks, which are not really concerning if you're just doing your touristy things in Myanmar. For me, it was a little bit different because I was filming here and there, and I was talking about the situation, and the people in charge, they are like charge of the country, they would not like me doing this. They are checking phones, laptop, trying to find journalists, people that are spreading the word out what the real situation is in Myanmar. They don't want people to know. Luckily, nothing happened to me. I also made sure that my phone and my laptop were clean. Then again, if you are a normal tourist and you don't have any intentions to mention or talk about the war, then it is fairly safe to travel in Myanmar. The day before I left to Mandalay from Yangon, I saw an article that a landmine went off near a bridge, destroying a part of the road from the old Yangon Mandalay highway. This only happened the day before I was going to Mandalay. I also spoke to a few locals who are saying like, oh, you better go by flight, don't go by road because it's quite dangerous. And then I read that landmine article. Yes, I was quite scared to go on this journey. After all, I arrived safely in Mandalay. I had a few roadblocks. Only one time a few people came in with a gun and checking people's IDs. I think they were only searching for local young guys between 18 and 35 because they have to serve for the army. Maybe you know already that most of the country do not want to serve the army and are on the resistance side. If you're a local and you want to travel from A to B and you're my age, then this would be very dangerous because they could just take your freedom like that. Mandalay itself, it felt quite safe. I had my worries because the people in Yangon were telling me that Mandalay was not very safe. Also the capital city I skipped because of these stories. You hear from the inside of the city, you hear people commenting like, oh, it's also safe there. I didn't want to risk it. It is very difficult to get a real picture of what is going on because the news is getting filtered. You hear fake news on Facebook. People also have different opinions of what is going on there. Not only the locals, but also people from outside. And this was quite difficult for me because I see what, in my opinion, is the reality with my own eyes. I can see how bad it is going in Myanmar right now, and people still telling me from outside of Myanmar that I'm exaggerating, and this is very painful for me because it is going really bad in Myanmar at the moment. There's only a small percentage which are doing okay and who are not living in fear at the moment. There's only a very small percentage. Then again, as a tourist in Mandalay, it is quite safe, no matter what age, if you're female or male, you'll be fine, you know, unless, and let me tell you now why there is a big but, because the situation is not stable at the moment. For now, it has been okay in the bigger cities, and hopefully this stays this way, and hopefully they'll find a way to communicate with each other so they solve this conflict without any fighting inside of the city. But there's no guarantee that it will be safe fully for the entire time while you are visiting Myanmar. Now it is easy to fly in and out from Yangon, to leave the country, especially if you are a foreign tourist. It's very easy for you to fly in and out. Maybe the airport will be always open, but for now there are uncertain times. Yes, it's fairly safe, but like I was saying, there was a landmine going off, there are a few bombings here and there. The bombings are only happening, or most of the bombings are happening outside of the cities, so there's not really something to worry about for you on your visits, but still this could also change. And then you can think, Chai, you are exaggerating, but people are actually worried. Like locals have been actually telling me that they are super worried about their country. They're really uncertain about what's going on. And yes, there are a few people at the moment also making YouTube videos, and especially the people who are living inside of Myanmar are not able to tell what is actually going on because it will be very unsafe for them. It is actually dangerous to say it is not safe and pointing out what is going on at the moment with the war and mass killings, etc. Genocide is happening right now. If you mentioning this while being in the country is very dangerous. So this is also why it's very difficult to get a real picture of what is the real state of Myanmar at the moment. Bagan is fairly safe. The people there are thriving on tourism. There is almost no tourists in Bagan. Old Bagan and New Bagan are struggling big time financially. On top of COVID, there was the military coup. Now there's this massive inflation and there's no tourists coming in the country. So they're struggling, and then again, even the poverty is high over there. It's not unsafe. The people are very friendly, welcoming the tourists, whoever is coming right now. Yeah, so if you decide to come to Myanmar, I hope you make it to Bagan, and I hope you bring many dollars to support the local businesses and to support the local people, and especially the people that are not asking for it. They probably need an extra dollar, more than you think. Across the river in Bagan, they are fighting. People did say that they are hearing, like I was quite far from the river, but people were staying quite close to the river. They can hear the bombings going off. It is definitely not safe if you leave town. There are battlefields quite quite close to Bagan, but inside of the city, no problem, nothing to worry as a foreign tourist. A little roundup here. Is Myanmar a tourist destination? I don't think it is at the moment. It is a beautiful country and hopefully they are able to solve the conflicts that are going on right now, so it's safe again for everyone to go. For now, I think you should think twice before you enter the country. If you do go to Myanmar, please bring a lot of cash with you and share it with the people that are in need. Is it safe to travel to Myanmar in 2024, 2025? It's fairly safe as a foreigner. But then again, it's very unstable as well. So do you support the junta when going to Myanmar at the moment? Obviously, you're paying a $50 fee for like a visa fee to get in. Well, this is pretty much going directly to the government, directly to the army. The army is struggling for funds. So they're actually needing every dollar that is coming in. So this is supporting the junta. But yeah, obviously it depends on what are you doing in Myanmar and what are you doing with the money that you bring in. It is also possible to support the smaller businesses, the families, the communities in Myanmar. Is there freedom of media and freedom of speech? No, that's not the case at the moment. You have to be careful and do a bit of research before you go to Myanmar if you're going in these times. I found a way while I was in Myanmar to support a small community, and we keep on doing this. I want to thank everyone who has been making donations already. There's quite a big list now and we are making changes right now. Slowly I am able to transfer the donated money to Myanmar and I give you updates on what we're doing with the money that has been sent already. Thank you so much for your donations already. Because of that inflation, we can have a big impact on one family, but also of the community around him. It means a lot to me, but it also means a lot to the people that we are helping right now. Believing in me, in the channel, and trusting me with your money, that means a lot to me, and it even means more to Momo and his family and community. If you're wondering what this is, how to donate, what we're doing with the donations, I have a website, chai-travel.com. There's a charity tab, and if you click on that, you're able to see what we're doing and what we keep on doing. Even we are carrying on our journey throughout Southeast Asia right now. I'm actually on my way now. I'm only 2 hours away from a flight to Kuala Lumpur. I'm gonna revisit one of my favorite cities in Southeast Asia, KL, in Malaysia, and I'm super excited about this. I'm gonna change the pace of my videos a little bit. I also gonna change the energy a little bit. I just want to say that I will never forget Myanmar. It was always staying in the back of my mind. I will keep on carrying on the charity kind of thing that we set up. I will keep in touch with some people in Myanmar, so be able to do good things even while I'm gone. But the videos from now on will be a bit more cheerful, and the rest of Southeast Asia is luckily not in war, and we'll be able to experience quite a bit of freedom. I'll be go back to showing you holiday destinations and also talking about several topics, mainly travel related in Southeast Asia. I'm catching a flight to KL just alone. I met Nuna already. We got ourselves a little apartment in Chiang Mai. We're very happy that we are together again. She was in the Netherlands for a little bit. We never were separated, but physically she was visiting the Netherlands for a little bit while I was traveling in Cambodia and Myanmar. We're happy together in Chiang Mai, and actually I'm flying out again, but we have been spending a couple of weeks already together, and I'm very happy to tell you this, whoever was interested in a little update of me and Nuna. Anyway, thank you all for watching till the very end. I'd like to say from Chiang Mai airport on my way to KL, bye for now and stay champ.